And I've been saying for a long time, there's two big technological shifts that could change the financial industry over the next decade plus: crypto and artificial intelligence. We want to be at the center of that. And actually, when we talk to advisors, they really care about both of those things as well. They're asking about how they can incorporate artificial intelligence to serve more customers, improve their quality. They want access to crypto assets as well, which they don't really have access to through traditional platforms. So I think that the future looks bright. We're very optimistic, and I think that Rob and team are going to be a big.
I was wondering, do younger investors actually want a human advisor? That might surprise people. As you guys are tech forward, we think of AI playing a big part. People do want an RIA.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you for having us. We're very excited about this. Wealth management is a huge industry, $7 trillion industry in the U.S. Robinhood, as of Q3, $160 billion in AUM. With Trade PMR joining us, that takes us to $200 billion in AUM. And what we find is that as customers get older, their financial needs become more sophisticated. The need for personalized, high-quality advice increases. And Rob and team have just built an awesome platform with great technology, and we see an opportunity to accelerate that and to connect their network of advisors to our 24 million plus customers and give them access to awesome tools as they go on their financial journey.
What do you think the effect of options being available on IBIT has, if any, on the market?
I think it's a big effect. All other markets, commodities, equities, the derivatives and options markets are orders of magnitude larger than the spot markets. I think it gives institutions really good abilities to hedge. I mean, better than anything. But the onshore options market in the U.S. is very thin, right? You have some CME options. You used to have smaller shops. Some of those went away. So outside of the OTC space, there's not been a good place for institutions to do options. And by the way, I should mention retail. 44% of U.S. equity options are traded by retail, and they really can't access any options at all. So you can imagine if we get into a bull market where retail is trading on Robinhood and other fintech apps, that those options could be really impactful.
That was literally my first thought was, how soon can you find these on Robinhood? But
I don't work for them, so I'm not sure. But I would be surprised if it's not quite soon.
Well, my question is, even when you saw the spot Bitcoin ETFs come out, you had a lot of people asking, what is the read-through effect? Not just from the spot ETF to Bitcoin. Now you have to ask from option to spot ETF to Bitcoin. What does this mean for the spot market?
I think you can take larger positions. I mean, I think in general you can hedge your positions.
You can also bet against positions.
You absolutely can, but you have a robust futures market. Options are probably much more granular and tactically effective for shorting than I think personally than for futures. But I mean, it's an enormously larger amount of liquidity in the overall space, and that just raises the profile of the capital that can invest in the space.
I love Bitcoin, big bull on it. My longer term count is somewhere around the 200,000 area, maybe even 240. Hope I don't jinx it by saying that, but it's quite remarkable, its trend in itself. And how I get there is a couple different ways. If this year was just a consolidation of 2023's massive rally, from a measured move perspective, that gets you to about 200. The last 3 years in itself was a consolidation in itself, so it's like a base upon a base, and that even gets you up to like the 300s area. So trend is undeniably strong within the Bitcoin. I want to side on there, and perhaps that will be where we get the speculative excess. But
Tell me what selling with Microsoft and developing product with Microsoft is going to do for what you've already built at C3.
This is a huge tailwind inflection point for C3 AI, and I think an inflection point in the enterprise AI industry. So as you know, we've spent 15 years. We started before Azure, before Google Cloud, before the GPU, now building, I think, 130 turnkey enterprise AI applications in order of 100 generative AI applications for mining, for banking, for supply chain, for manufacturing. All of those applications starting tomorrow are being sold are available for sale by the entire global Azure sales force. So in December, we'll be jointly selling to 100 accounts. I suspect in a year we'll be jointly selling to thousands of accounts where we're teamed together using Azure, using the C3 AI applications. And between Microsoft and C3 AI, we can guarantee the customer's success.
So this industry approach to selling AI, it really seems like things are going more that way. It's not about just having generic LLMs or generic models. You got to be able to do specific things within your industry. How much of that in your conversations with Microsoft are driving the expectation of where growth is going to come from, where value is going to come from for some of these customers?
We're in meetings real time this week, next week, the week after, last week, focused on federal, defense, intelligence, manufacturing, pharmaceutical, chemicals, oil and gas utilities. It's very clear, that Microsoft goes to market with a very industry-centric focus. C3 has always gone to market with an industry-centric focus, and we are delivering now combined, industry-specific AI solutions that address the value chains of all these verticals, very, very tightly integrated with Azure, supported by Microsoft, supported by C3. This is huge.
Tom, it's Morgan. You just mentioned defense, intelligence, and federal, and so that's the question I'm going to ask you, because there is this focus on incoming Trump administration, what it's going to mean, especially with Doge coming into being here, what it's going to mean for the companies that do contract with the government. Maybe not so good, at least based on what investors are gaming out right now, potentially for traditional defense contractors, but maybe great for dual-use technology companies like, for example, a C3 AI that can maybe realize greater productivity within government. How do you see it?
I suspect you're right that the new administration will dramatically change the way they procure weapon systems and what have you. That being said, with Elon involved and many of the people involved in the administration, you could be certain they're going to triple down on AI for space, for subsurface, for hypersonics, and the military system that they built will be entirely centered around AI. And I suspect that C3 will continue to be involved in many of those.
Nvidia shares popping nearly 5% and closing just $3 shy of its own record. The move comes ahead of its earnings report tomorrow night. Shares are up 17% since its last report. Should we expect more gains for the AI darling? Wall Street certainly expects more gains. They've been hiking the price target, hiking estimates going into this number.
Welcome to the Cryptoteacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Robinhood's Vlad says crypto and AI will change the financial markets. And we know it's already changed. They just have two systems running at the same time. While the sheep sleep, the NWO builds. And all these financial advisors will be replaced by AI. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. Now we have the BlackRock Spot Bitcoin ETF options launching, and I told you it will give us a pump, but then also they're definitely going to be coming in to short it on up. We've already seen this movie before. But because we know all about the digital economy, the fourth industrial revolution, it doesn't scare us if Bitcoin goes down 20, 30, 40,000. Yes, it gives you a stomachache, but like I stated, we've seen this before. And we have John from Macro Advisors says that Bitcoin can get over 200,000. And remember when I first started, I said if Bitcoin is for the robots, algorithms, and drones, then it definitely have the ability to hit $1 million once we get into the fourth industrial revolution. Now these robots have money, so now they can run the economy without a human involved. And we have C3 AI partnership with Microsoft Azure. And we know that's the cloud, and they're pulling all that data. And they have several different businesses, but one of them is defense and intelligence. And that should definitely scare you, especially when we know the agenda of Microsoft. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. Now we have Nvidia report tomorrow. And yes, I expect the numbers to be decent, but I don't see any big pump because all this is priced in. And those who've been with me from the beginning know that I used to talk about Nvidia all the time when I was doing the stock channel. And yes, Nvidia is going to be a big piece of the fourth industrial revolution. But right now, Nvidia is a value trade. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And then we have the drums are beaten. And of course, the narrative is when Trump gets into office, he's going to stop it. No, he's not. It's going to be stepped up. Because remember, his job is to land us in the fourth industrial revolution. And that means that people have to be distracted in order for the NWO to build. So guys, get your popcorn, sit back, and let it play out. And don't forget that the banks always fund both sides. When it comes to the drums are beaten, and there was always an agenda when it came to the drums, and this time it's this new digital economy. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Just 2 days ago, to use these American-made long-range Army tactical missile systems, they're known as ATACMS, to strike Russian territory. And now the Ukrainians have done just that, firing the missiles at Russian targets in the Bryansk region of Russia. Now, these are ballistic missiles with a range of about 190 miles. Previous Ukrainian strikes inside Russia had been made with Ukrainian drones, not American-made hardware. Now, in Moscow, the Kremlin announced that Russian leader Vladimir Putin has approved a new nuclear doctrine which says Moscow could use a nuclear attack in response to an attack by a non-nuclear country that's backed by a nuclear state. Read Ukraine and Russia there. But a report today by Signum Global Advisors argues the policy change doesn't really substantively change the situation because Putin can use nuclear weapons or not, no matter what the document's text actually says. And I've been talking to multiple CIA veterans today who have operational experience in Russia and in Ukraine. They're telling me the latest escalation could be useful for the incoming Trump team because it's a sign that both sides may be preparing for a negotiated settlement after Trump takes office. The Ukrainians trying to consolidate their gains on Russian territory, and the Russians saber-rattling to intimidate the West from supporting further
use U.S. missiles to strike inside Russia. It was President Biden who allowed that. Should he have done it?
You know, Ukraine should have been allowed to bring this war to a peaceful end, one that was negotiated from a position of U.S.-backed strength, and they weren't. So now in the last minutes of this administration, this is a very questionable tact and one that President Trump's going to have to straighten out in just a matter of days.
It puts President-elect Trump in a bind, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It creates a situation in which clearly he's going to inherit a much more volatile situation. And quite frankly, I suspect the outgoing administration is going to say, oh, we already tried that. We did that, trying to take any credit from some initiative President Trump undoubtedly will author.
What do you make of Putin's nuclear saber-rattling? Is that all it is? It's just a symbolic?
You know, the most important thing to Putin is to cling to power. If he uses nuclear weapons, he will lose his hold on power. So I don't suspect that it's real, but we have to take it seriously, just as 10,000 North Korean troops being added as cannon fodder have to be taken very seriously.
Well, on the decision of the United States to allow Ukrainian regime to use missiles up to 300 kilometers long, we read what the New York Times published about this. There are still no confirmation either from the White House or from the Pentagon, but we basically take our position on the basis of what is going on physically. And physically, ATACMS, apparently not as long as 300 kilometers, are being used, including this early morning in Russia, against the Bryansk Oblast of Russia, which is bordering Ukraine. And we proceed from the understanding that this is happening, and that any modification of ATACMS cannot be used without American experts and instructors, including satellite data, including programming and targeting. The president mentioned this several times. If long-range missiles are going to be applied from Ukraine into Russian territory, it will also mean that they are operated by American experts, military experts. And we will be taking this as a qualitatively new phase of the Western war against Russia, and we'll react accordingly.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting it more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the new World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks, And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID 33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.